Hi, this is your Cleveland Honda guy from J Honda, the famous Bedford Auto Mile in good old Cleveland, Ohio. And today we're going to talk about lease and buy. There's a lot of myths, a lot of misnomers out there, and we're going to clarify them all today, make it very simple for you to understand the difference between buying a car and leasing a car and what's best for you. These days, leasing is a very popular choice to get a car, but a lot of people don't understand how it works. By the time you leave today, you'll be well versed on both. Now, first of all, let me explain the differences. First of all, when you buy a car, you buy the full amount of the car. So you're buying the full purchase price of the vehicle. Also, you're paying tax on the full amount of the car. So you have a liability of the sales price of the vehicle plus the tax. Now, if you're like the average person, you're going to finance this car. The average finance is 60 to 72 months these days, and some of the more expensive cars, they're actually going out to 84 months on a loan so a customer can afford that luxury premium vehicle. Now, if you're the typical consumer based on NADA stats, which is the National Automobile Dealers Association, about 46 months into your loan, most people decide that they want to get something else. So they might decide that, hey, I want a nicer car. I just got a raise. Hey, I just had a child. I need more room. I need a van. I'm retiring. I want to downsize. All those things go into effect of why people choose to move out of their car 46 months into their loan. Well, when you take a loan for 60, 72, even 84 months, and you want out after 46 months because you have that itch, well, in most cases what happens is you owe more on the car than what it's worth. And that's called negative equity. So where does that go? Well, when you go into a car dealership, you have a few choices. One, you'd have to pay the difference, which most people don't want to do, or you roll it into your next car. And that negative equity goes right into your next loan. And again, and again, and again, unless you keep a car for a long period of time. Now, on a lease, it's quite different. On a lease, you're only buying a portion of the car. And you're only paying tax, in most states, on a portion of that vehicle. So you're buying a piece of it. You're not buying the full amount. But what's great about a lease is it gives you a lot of advantage compared to a buy. Now, if you're the type of person who keeps a car for 9, 10 years, who puts on 20,000 miles a year, and you're going to run the car into the ground, buy the vehicle. It's the best way to go. But if you're a type of person who likes a car, maybe you keep it 46 months, 3 years, you like to be under warranty the full time, you don't like a lot of hassle, you don't want to worry about repairs, leasing's a great way to go. Plus it gives you an advantage. A lease is typically $100 to $150 less per month on a monthly payment. So it lets you get a lot more car for less money. Now, let's address some of the rumors about leasing. A lot of people say, hey Mark, you know, when I lease the car, I don't own it. Well, guess what? When you buy the car, you don't own it until you make the last payment. The bank owns it. And when you compare net numbers, this is how I always look at it. Whether you're buying a car or leasing and buying at the end, what is it going to cost you to own that title? Because until you have the title, you don't own the car. So on a buy, you would take your payments times the term plus money down is going to give you your net number. So take your payments times how long you financed it for, plus whatever trade or money down you gave the dealership. That gives you your net amount. Well, a lease is no different. On a lease, say you leased it for 36 months. You take your money down on the lease, plus your payments times the term, in this case 36 months, and at the end of the lease, what you can buy the car for, called the residual value. That gives you a net value. These two, whether you buy or lease and buy at the end, are going to be very similar. Okay? Now, some benefits of leasing. Well, first of all, most lease companies these days have what's called protection. Another myth on leasing is, hey, you know what? If I lease the car, they're going to kill me at the end for damage on the vehicle. Well, American Honda actually gives you $1,500 of damage waiver on the vehicle because they want you to come back and release the car. Well, you know what? Overmiles are going to kill me. Well, if you plan it up front and you actually sit down and decide how much you actually drive, it's very reasonable. The typical lease is 12,000 miles a year. 15,000 miles, it's just a little bit more. So decide what you want to do. Now on a lease, like I said before, after you lease it for 3 years, what's great about leasing, it gives you a lot of advantages. Because at 3 years with American Honda, you can walk away from that car. You don't have negative equity anymore. You don't have to worry about that burden. With Honda, as long as you don't have over $1,500 of damage, you don't have over miles, you can turn that car in and walk away from it. There is no what's called a disposition fee on the lease. You can just walk away from the car and you're done. And you can go decide what you want to do with your next vehicle. But what's nice too is, say for example, and we see this all the time now. People say, well, how, Mark, do I get money out of my lease? I mean, I don't even know that's possible. Well, it is possible these days. At the end of the lease, you have what's called a residual value, or in common terms, what you can buy the vehicle for. Well, say, for example, this buyout at the end of your lease is $10,000. Well, it's no different than you owning the car and owning $10,000. The only difference, though, is it's someone else's money. So you can say, okay, well, I really like this car after 3 years. I can buy the car for $10,000. It looks like they're going for $13,000 for other dealerships. Well, that's a good buy. Well, how about the other side? What if the market's $8,000? Well, that's great, because at the end of the lease, it's not your responsibility. You turn the car back in, the bank's responsible if the market's changed. Not you, because if you bought the car, you're responsible for that change. So it's a great hedge. And what's wonderful too is that you have that choice. You have 3 years to decide, or 4 years to decide, or 2 years, all depending on what term you go, what you want to do with that car at lease end. So today what you learned, just to recap it, is that when you buy the car, you buy the whole amount of the vehicle. If you trade out early, in a lot of cases you have negative equity, because a car is an appreciating asset. It loses value every day. You actually owe more than what it's worth. Okay? The average consumer stays in the car 46 months. The average loan these days are 60 to 84 months. On a lease is a great option. You buy a portion of the car when it's under warranty for the full time. Your payment's $100 to $150 less in most cases. You decide at the end of the lease whether you want the car. You have first right of refusal. You can decide whether the market's up or down on your car, whether you want to sell it and make it a profit, or it's not worthwhile and turn it back in and let the bank take the loss. Again, a lease is a great way to go. You get more car for your money. You're covered the whole time that you have the vehicle under warranty. And what's nice too is it gives you an option to see where the market is after 3 years to see if you really want to own the car. I appreciate your time today. I thank you for watching the differences between buying and leasing. If you have any comments, please email me below at my email that I'm showing. Have a great day.